All right. Good evening. And if you catch this at a certain time, you will definitely be hearing this at whatever time that is, whether it's morning, noon, afternoon. Welcome to another edition of God's gift through His Word. I'm so glad that you guys are here, and we're going to be having a conversation today. All right, so let's get started.
So I was saying that, you're not running from something like they said, but I think you're running to something, that achievement that, again, your parents put in your head, that when we examine all of your siblings, it's really a head game of being bourgeois and being an overachiever, and yet you achieve so much, but you don't feel in yourself that you've reached that goal, and that goal is it's more of a status symbol than I've accomplished, because you've accomplished so much. And that head game they played in you, you're getting out slowly, but it always raises its head.
Yeah, and it's ugly, because one of those things that you and I have talked about before, James, is how when that scene that says, the comparison is a thief of joy. And I'm not comparing myself. I find myself rarely compare myself to other people, but I'm comparing myself sometimes to my family, and sometimes comparing myself to the achievements that I think I should have based on where they're at. Like if my dad got his doctorate and I'm still bachelor's degree, my sister just told me she got her master's. Like, I didn't even know you were doing this. Like, oh yeah, my nephew got his master's. Everybody oh, you don't want your master's, right? Are you guys saying I'm too dumb to achieve that?
Yeah. I mean, they're playing you like what Gavin Newsom said to everybody.
He's just okay. And this is the part where I like when Pastor Jay interjects and just lets me understand. Yeah, there were head games being played. Definitely, there were head games being played with me. Me don't read.
Yeah, I don't care read, and I got low test scores, so I'm just like you. No. And like I said, even with them attaining these advanced degrees, we live in a time. What your father has his degree in is leadership. Come on. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I do. Yeah, that's not really.
That's not real.
Yeah, that's not real. I mean, the colleges did that to get money.
Right.
Because these people wouldn't qualify for a degree in sociology, psychology, chemistry, philosophy, or in the engineering profession. You get a degree in paralegal, you get a degree in law enforcement, you get a degree in leadership. And that's just a money grab. That has no value at all, because those things are subtitled criminology, whereas there is a degree called a criminologist. Mm-hmm. But all of those are subtitles of things you can specialize in through psychology, right?
Right.
So, but you don't want to go through the psychology or the sociology side of it to learn the methods and
the skills
from the past, and all the authors of the books, the Kants and those type of people, the Freuds, and you don't want to read those type of people, so they pigeonhole the degree to get their money. Yeah. So for you to look at him and to say, okay, I fell short because he has a degree in leadership. He did get trained in leadership by one of the best organizations in the world, which is the U.S. military. He left the military as retired non-commissioned officer at a high rank of sergeant, whatever sergeant he was. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the highest sergeant rank. I think is sergeant major. There's only a few of them in the country, so he left one level lower than that. And
senior master sergeant.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But to start just doing stuff so you can show off to people, but as you lived in that environment, what people saw on the outside didn't match the horrors that were going on the inside.
Absolutely.
And that's where you became an overcomer, because in spite of what it looked like, the reality of, which is something I've been working on, when expectation of whatever it was and the reality of what it is don't match.
Mm.
So there was an expectation. You can look at them on the outside, there's an expectation. But the reality is, it was a horror to be in that expectation, live in that, because the reality on the other side is abuse, belittling, messing with your head, Cinderella, blaming you, incarcerating you, institutionalizing you,
right,
beating you,
right,
you know, that nobody else would ever believe if they ever told that.
Right. And I told somebody, I told one of my friends that, I said, if you ever, and I said, I've had one of my friends to do it, okay, when we were friends, and another gentleman did it as well. I said, but if you ever got a chance to meet my family in person, it's like you're meeting the Stepford wife kind of people. You won't know the horrors of the monsters and the switch of the mindset. You won't know the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. and Mrs. Hydes that are there, because you'll never see that. When you see them, they're Judy Cleaver kind of people, and you're like, wow, your dad is so amazing, and your mom is so funny. I'm like, you're absolutely understanding you don't know them, and you'll never see that, because their reputation and the facade that they have and the way that they are perceived in society, they can't show you the real them. Only behind closed doors, and a person like myself who had to be with them and live with them will see that. You'll never see who they are. You'll never see it. It'll never be a thing.
Yeah, that's why I always have to remind you, once your story is told, and with them involved in the other things you overcome, you've done a lot. So your worst enemy is what goes on in your head based upon what they have done, which again is the process of letting God take that away from you and not let them affect you like they used to. And you've actually made very large strides in that area of not letting them affect you. But every now and then,
yes, every now and then,
you get back on the hamster wheel.
Yes.
And start chasing that psychologically of, there's something I need to achieve to show them.
Absolutely.
But the great part about it is, with your siblings, you know, I've always pointed out that you're the only one who owns a home. Okay? You're the only one who has a mortgage.
Yeah.
All right?
Right.
You're the only one who has a recognized podcast and speaks nationally to people on your special talents and fields, and, you know, people searching you out. You know, they're not doing that for none of them.
No.
From your father with his doctorate in leadership all the way down to their siblings. Nobody's searching them out.
Right.
You know, to the point, their haterism for you is so obvious.
Yes.
That none of them support anything that you do.
Nothing. I mean,
not your podcast.
Yeah.
Not your book. See, that's what I'm saying. If I go with podcast, book, the counselor you are, the HOA, I mean, I go on and on and on and on your achievements, right?
Yes.
Your challenges of 2 special needs daughters and a son that's gone awry, and your daughter trying to go off to college and do her thing. You know, the achievements that you have. You know, you came from an abusive situation, and you know, it's just so much that you've conquered. You know, the question that always is it's just a rhetorical question. Why do you keep trying to please them? You'll never please them, because it'll never be enough for them. Yeah. You can go to the moon and back, and they're gonna say, "Why do you go to Venus?"
You're absolutely right. And you know what? James?
Even though they have never been to the moon.
Exactly. And I think that is one of the things I'm working on with you. Not like you're my therapist or anything, but working on when we do talk, is just like when I have those little moments.
I'm a therapist. I'm past the J, the guru.
My bad.
I'm the guru. The all-knowing odds.
Well, see, this is the thing. Like the last time when I think my family made it very obvious, which I'm gonna have to do a whole series, because I think this is gonna be not the last piece, but I think this is gonna be one of those huge pieces that I have not yet dealt with, along with my military. I think those 2 big pieces I'm going to have to really delve into, because they're so simultaneously and they go together. It's hard to separate one without having to deal with my family when I talk about my military short-lived career. And then people will ask, "Oh, you're only in for 90 days." Listen, you don't want to open that Pandora's box. There's a lot to why, okay? And I'm still dealing with that. Like, you were in for like 20 years. I would have been, because I'm in my 40s, but that's a different podcast. It's a whole different series. But me understanding that I need to start chasing, and I need to stop chasing. And I said, when they told me the last time when you and I did the podcast, the Soul Cow Podcast Explosion, and they told me that you and Dr. K did not exist, like you guys are a figment of my imagination, and I had to tell them, these people are real. I'm not making them up. He exists. He's real. And that's why the last time when I put you on the phone, I was like, would you like to talk to my friend? It was for me to reiterate to my dad, the man that you said does not exist, and you think I made him up in my mind, go ahead and talk to him on the phone, because he's a real man. He's not a figment of my imagination.
Right. And your sister know I exist, so she should.
Yeah, she definitely knows. Like, to try to gaslight me with real people, like, why are you guys trying to gaslight me about people?
Like you that made up, on Sesame Street, Mr. Snuffleupagus is a made up.
Right, he's a made up character. Oh, these people don't exist.
Yeah. So this is the thing. That's the way they've been governing your behavior and thought process. Mm-hmm. And it's never ever they're content. They're never ever satisfied. And what we going on? How many years now? 8
years.
In 8 years I've known you, they've never complimented one thing that you've done.
No.
Even when you pulled off SoCal Podcast, they could have came down for that.
But then you know what they said about that, James? Did I tell you what they said?
Well, you said that you shouldn't have done it or something.
No, they said that they didn't know it was real. They said, "Oh, you actually did it?" I said, "Yes." What?
Well, the same thing with your book, right? Same thing.
You actually wrote a book? Really?
Yeah, same thing. And the sad part about it is, we know they know.
Right.
So what they're saying to you is gaslighting.
Exactly. They're gaslighting the real things that I've done, the real things that are tangible. These aren't like made up things. They're tangible things. Like, oh, you wrote a book? Who thought about that? Who thought that you would actually make one? Oh, that's nice. You wrote that. And then my brother, you want to be the poster child for domestic violence? Sir, I'm going to need you to hashtag stop that. Like, we don't even want to go down your road. Like, stop it.
And the fact that your brother's in the bushes.
And always watching.
Always watching, but never commenting.
No.
And again, but you know what? That's normal, because what I found out, and I'm not going to say majority of people, but maybe the people that we've run into, I just run into, even in family members sometimes, they're just haters. Yeah. I mean, they want to keep you in the box they remember you in. You know what I'm saying? St. Louis is big for that. Whereas they always, St. Louis, the first thing I told you to ask about, they don't care. You could have went to the moon. You could have created came up with a cure for AIDS. You could have been a cancer survivor, ran the Boston Marathon, played in the Super Bowl, shot the last shot at the NBA Finals, and all they're concerned about is where you went.
What high school you went to? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you do fall short and something happens to you where you don't reach their expectation or somebody's expectation, they can't see you beyond that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to accept that God will use you beyond their idea of perfection. But if they read their Bible, these so-called Christian folk, if they read their Bible, God has always used the people that society believed that were unusable.
Right, the misfits of society.
To get his glory.
Yeah.
So whatever path I was on and I fell off that expected path, God said, now I'm going to put you on the path I want you on. And there's going to be those who should come along and see the difference, but they're too scared to get close to you to see the difference. So they're going to always talk to you as if it was 20 years ago.
And keep you in that same old jacket.
Keep you in that same old jacket that I can't fit over.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. 20 years ago, I was actually bigger, so I can't wear that jacket no way. Right? So, So it's kind of funny, just a short story. Sister Tamara was she's in the medical profession. She's a doctor. She was talking to these patients in what the city I'm from. It's a very close-knit city you sit in. And it's one of those things where people know me, but I don't really know them because I was an athlete, right? I was a pretty decent athlete. So there were people that claim they know me, and people that claim they knew me when I used to work for the government, but I don't really know them. You know, I didn't break bread with them. So for me to say, I know you, I look at that as we were in some kind of social, intimate situation together at some point in time, right?
Yeah.
That's where I get, I know you. Of you, that's another thing. It still would have to be something that it would be memorable enough for me to remember you, right? Your interaction with me, all right? Or I know who somebody you know, and I know of you. But to know me, you know, I look at that as breaking bread at some point, sharing the same team, same jersey, going to the practice together, that social, you know, real personal interaction stuff.
Right.
Real connection. So this person was going to tell a story about me as if he knew me, and I didn't know him because she told me, because she was telling them how she is, you know, she's under my tutelage now as her pastor, right?
Yes.
So he, of course, he tried to despair something that he didn't know nothing about, that he just knew that was rumored. And I laughed because when she mentioned his name to me, I didn't know who this was.
Mm.
And then she said he wasn't even in the same department. And guess what department he was in?
What?
The mail room.
So he done heard through the grapevine.
He went to the same high school I went to. He ended up working for the government like I did, but he was in an obscure department that I really never came in contact with.
Mm.
But he know what happened to me.
Wow.
And that just proves my point. People, instead of listening to the good that you've done from whatever time they known you, they love to keep you in the dark and in the mess because that's what they're comfortable with you. They don't want you rising out of what God has ordained so he can get the glory.
Yeah.
They want to because they're pitiful, they're in darkness, and they want you to stay there with them.
But you're not there with them.
But I'm not there with them.
And they can't accept that. They can't accept you moved on or you've done better. The Lord's blessed you to do better.
They can't accept it. They go to my Facebook page. I have 6.2 thousand followers, and I've never, ever asked for anybody to follow me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They can't help that what, shoot, I don't know, 15,000 people on Instagram that follow me. You know, they can't help that just in my Spotify, you know, I have 500,000 plays on our sermons and stuff. And we're growing on YouTube because I'm really focusing on YouTube now. You know, I have, you know, 3 Facebook pages that are over, one is over 5,000, one is over 2, another one's over 1,000. Yeah. So, and communicating with people all over the world for the glory of God, they don't want to see that. This is my problem with people like your family and others. They don't want to see that, and it's right in front of them.
Right, they don't want to see it.
Now, wasn't that the problem with the Pharisees?
It was.
Jesus?
Yes.
It's like, you can't be the one because you don't fit our ideal.
Mm-hmm.
So keep performing it maybe one day.
Mm-hmm. Keep doing the tricks.
Keep doing the trick. We don't want to hear the message.
Right.
Because what good can come out of what? Was it Galilee? You know what? Does anything good come out of was it Galilee? Nazareth, yeah. Can anything good come out of the ghetto?
Mm-hmm.
Can anything good come out of a fallen person?
Yeah.
You know, can anything good come out of a fallen person that has overcame their own challenges, and now you're setting something that they could never overcome, and it's my fault, and it's your fault, I know you take responsibility for this, that you're allowing them to be in your head to the point you know that you will never achieve what they want.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you know, it's a process, of course. You know, I think that word is overused. but it's as close to you accomplishing it as you will to say, I'm not going to think that way anymore. I'm not going to worry about them at all. I mean, you've done a great job. I commend you. You know, it's the last time there. You know, that was pretty dope what you did, you know, last time there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, just tell them, I mean, since we recorded, tell them what you did there as far as the trip and what you decided.
So how we got to this point of their conversation in California. So my son, we talked about him lightly. He had some issues. So he got kicked out of school here, so we could give backstory. So I said, since he got kicked out of school, let me just take him to my family in California, in San Pedro, California. And there's a school across the way called Port of Los Angeles. So I was thinking he could go right across the street because my parents live in a loft apartment directly across the street, and there's 2 police departments right on either side of that particular high school. So of course, when I go down there, I let my mother know that's what I want to do. Of course, my dad, okay, everything. But before I went out there, I had a conversation with my mother, and I said, okay, Mom, I want to have Devontae come out there and let him go to school out there. Well, she thought about it, and she's like, well, you know who's actually been there, done that? Just like how Devontae's dealing with what he's dealing with. I was like, no. She's like, your brother. I was like, my brother. She's like, yeah, we can. How about this? How about we call up your brother Steven and send your son to him in Colorado Springs? He does have a spare room. I was like, no, Mom, I don't really want him to go there. I think it'd be better because he'd have a lot more family and support because you're there. Dad's there, his aunts are there, great grandma's there. There's more support with him out there than just my brother and my sister-in-law. That's not it. Plus, we won't even go to the backstory of why he has a spare room, because you shouldn't have a spare room because my niece is supposed to be there, who's currently not. So fast forward, going through all of that, and so we're still out there trying to get him into the school. So the last day, it's supposed to be the last day when I'm going to be like, okay, this is the day I need to leave him there and give him everything, his whole suitcase and everything. And for some reason, somebody said, just keep his suitcase at the hotel with me. So I did. They said, oh, did you bring your suitcase? He's like, no, it's at the hotel. I was like, okay, we'll just get it the next day. Well, my mother decides to send me a raggedy text message about, you know what, we can always send him, with your brother, and I can get on a plane and things and go take him to Colorado. I said, why in the world are we having this conversation? I would have never left Arizona coming out here if that's what you were going to be on. You're on some funny stuff like you always are. You're trying to sit my son. So I called you. I called my friend James, and I was like, my mom's on this funny tip about she wants to send Devontae to Colorado Springs with my brother, and that's not what I want to do. And you said, you know what, forget that. Pack it up, because even if you say with all that your gusto that you want him to go to that school, she's going to take him and go to Colorado Springs. Just take him home. And, even if he's bad or whatever, it's better you take him home with you. And thank God I did, because a different situation opened up. But at that time, I was strong enough to you know what, I'm not gonna let you guys cower me down and make me feel like that. And on top of it, they had left my grandmother, who's gonna be 98 March 1st, and she was alone. And my sister told me she left her alone. I was like, you guys left grandma alone by herself? Who's there? My mom wasn't there. My dad wasn't there. Nobody's there. LJ went to work. I was like, okay, so who's there? They thought because I'm in town, I would go over as my Cinderella fashion, go over and go watch my grandmother. And you told me, James told me this. He told me, Pastor J. James told me this. He said to me, they probably assume you're going to go over to the house, stay there and watch. You said, don't go over to that house and go do that. And sure enough, they said, you know what, go ahead and go inside because grandma's there, and watch. He said, I already knew that. They were already thinking that you're going to go back, sit there, wait for and take care of her. Why they ain't there? I said, no. He said, just pack up right now. Go enjoy the rest of your time, which we did. We went to the beach. We went to the aquarium. We had a good time, and then we packed up and we smashed out. I left, and I took my kids back home after we enjoyed our time, recorded my little stream stuff on the beach, and came back home. I said, I can't believe they're still being the same, but I won't say I can't believe it. I was just hopeful, maybe one last hope, one last olive branch that they might have changed. No, they did not.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And somebody might be listening to this and say, well, what's wrong with sending to your brother? Well, does not have his own daughter. And fact on fact, she's been taken away from the mother and the father. So why, and she's a teenager, so why should you send your son up there? And I'll let the audience use their imaginations to the possibilities of why the state took the daughter away.
Right.
And placed her in foster care as a teenager.
Right.
And not going to go into that. But again, why would she send her son into that environment? Even with that, everybody knows, but nobody wants to talk about it.
And everybody, right? Yeah. And like you said, everybody knows, but they assume I'm the dummy and the Cinderella, and I don't know nothing. So I should just send my son because I'm the idiot, and I don't know
about the fact that what's going on with Steven.
Right. But see, that's how my family has always maneuvered. Even when I didn't know you, I was always acting with that whole mindset that I know now that you told me that's what I was doing back then, where I look like the fool, but I'm not going to be the fool. And I was doing that back then because I knew what my mother was doing with my money. I knew she was doing a whole bunch of stuff, but they thought I was an idiot and sleeping with the medication all the time that I didn't know what they were doing. I knew exactly what they were doing all the time, siphoning my money and all the stuff they were doing that they did with the government and all that stuff. If it ever came out in OSI, or IG, or whoever ever looks into it, maybe they'll be discovered, but it's so many years now. But I was like, yeah, people know how to get over it. And my family's been doing this for a long time. Even with the Freudian slip of their mouth, like my dad says, we'll show you how to commit somebody. I said, oh, so you are in on it. So what I saw in the file of you guys signing me away and making me look like I'm a Texas whore, that I did not say that. And you guys wrote that down there for me. I was like, you guys have been playing me. And I was thinking my family's on my side. But y'all have been trying to destroy me and trying to literally take me out.
You get some money for your kids and go about their business.
Right.
And the fact that if the people paying attention, you're like, well, it started with the dad asking him, it went to your mom. And if you guys are listening carefully, do you hear us interjecting the dad back in the picture to be the head of his household and tell his wife, no, we're not going to do that? No, because she is the one who runs it, and he doesn't have the balls to stand up to her.
And he won't say anything.
And he won't say anything. So he okayed it, but she's the one who intricately going to plan it. And she says, no, I'm going to send Devontae to Colorado. That was the time where he stands up 10 toes down, Sergeant, and say, honey, we're not going to do that because Tanika doesn't want to do that with her son. And it's a privilege for us to get a chance to do that with him so he can finish school. But no, that was not going to be it.
No.
See? So, again, the quicker as you on your journey to flush them out of your mind and of control, you've made a lot of good strides, because the old Tanika I know 8 years ago would have stayed there and took the abuse.
I sure would have. You're absolutely right.
You would have stayed there, went over. Hold on. They would have convinced you to stay there to take care of your grandmother and leave Arizona alone. Like, we need you here. Come here and do this.
Right.
You know, where everybody else now can live their life and have their fun. Cinderella's back. And, you know, we're going to all pile up into this apartment, you know, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, her and the kids, because you said they only got, 3 bedrooms?
Yes.
So your other sister's there. So she got to have a bedroom.
Yep.
Them two got a bedroom, right?
Ooh, Grandma has a bedroom.
Your mother and your dad, or do they sleep separately?
No, they have their own room together.
Okay, but then Grandma got a bedroom.
Right.
So what end up happening is either you pile in there with your sister, or you'll be piled up in Grandma's room.
Either Grandma's room, or normally they will put you in the living room with an air mattress.
See, and that's what I'm saying. You be in the living room, and you in a high-rise, expensive, from the outside looking in condo, and you in there sleeping like gypsies.
Right.
See, that's what I'm saying. You know, and I don't, again, respect in the sense of you're my friend.
Yeah.
And I take it real personal when I see the things that I've seen them do. When I'm seeing the lack of appreciation of what you've become and what you are doing, and their lack of support. They only support you when it benefits them and they have some plan for you in the end.
Right, some kind of secret agenda.
Yeah, they could have helped you with the book. They could have helped with SoCal podcasting, but it didn't suit their agenda.
Right.
To the point your sister even talked negative about your agenda doing SoCal podcasting and got upset because I told the truth about all those who doubted you. It was going on. And she tried to go nuclear on me.
Well, see, this is the funny part.
But see, that was about to backfire on her because I got all the way to her job because when I found out she was doing that on state time, yeah, you left me alone.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. You've actually had a run-in with one of them. One of them where her little facade came down. And I was so embarrassed that one time when we had that conversation. Shut the F up. I said, oh my gosh, let me hang up. I said, you said no. I said, whoa. She's so angry. She sounded like those women that say, I don't need a man. And she would just yell. She don't know you like that. And she yelling at the top of her lungs. I'm like, Stephanie, no. I was like, whoa. Wow.
And you was wondering why I was going to blame you.
Well, because I was really concerned because I thought her plan, what she was trying to do, I was like, you're going to try and ruin this friendship. And it took a long time for me to even have this. And I know that was her plan. Like, why is he even talking to you? Why does a man with a PhD and it's this kind of level, why does he even want to associate with you? He should be talking to me. And her plan was in the end to try and destroy the friendship. And you said, no, I'm not blaming you for that. And I said, I'm not trying to have her do anything. I didn't know she was sending letters. I didn't know she was doing that stuff on your Facebook. I didn't know what she was doing. I was like, why are you doing these things? You're making me look bad. And I was like, he's like, no, she's doing this of her own. And that has nothing to do with you.
I knew why she was doing it. Like I told you, God has blessed you with discernment to the point that simple-minded people, evil people are simple-minded. They're not as crafty as you think. All you have to do is realize they can't handle somebody knowing what they're doing. And once they figure out that they gotta explode. They gotta come, they gotta let you see their skirt tail. So once she showed me her skirt tail and I showed how she moved, I just reacted in a roundabout way to let her know, yeah, I could get to you just like you think you can get to me. But the only problem is there's nobody that can fire me.
Yeah.
You see, you the one still got a job, not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think the state would like you on their time when you're supposed to be helping other people do other things as a social worker, that you're spending an enormous amount of time emailing and mailing out stuff to so-called my church and put stuff on my Facebook page that can be tracked back to you.
Right.
Yeah. No matter how anonymous you become, it can be tracked back to you, and you were dumb enough to use their computer and their laptop.
Right.
You see, so yeah. So the things that you have achieved, like I say, we've talked about it. If people look at your Facebook page, your YouTube page, or you got X, you got a Twitter page, you got Snapchat too, or no?
I did. I haven't been keeping up with it.
But you've been on which one? Which one you've been on a lot? Not Twitter, but the other one, the Chinese one.
The Chinese one. Oh, TikTok.
TikTok, yeah. TikTok is taking off, and you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
But again, every now and then, you realize that you're chasing after the white whale. You're chasing after Bigfoot. You just and what they are is Bigfoot. You can smell them, you can hear them, but you really can't see them.
Yeah.
They're still in your DNA. You can feel it. But the problem is, even if you reached where they said you should reach, they're going to say you just should have been better. You should have done more.
Yeah, or should have got there sooner.
Got there sooner.
Right.
Why your other siblings don't even have a house?
Right.
That one. They don't even have a house. Okay. They're still living with, your mom.
And getting help. One of them gets help. I said, I've always wondered about those kind of things. I said, I may not have a status symbol vehicle, and I'm not trying to get one that way. But I said, when you ask for help from your family, not really necessarily a car dealer, but when you ask for help from your family and you know that they can help you and they won't, I said, you're not going to help your daughter who has 4 kids. So obviously there's going to be a little bit of a need there versus the one that has 1 child. And you're going to help them get a Beamer and you can't help me get anything? Like nothing?
Right. Not help them, but help them and pay for it.
Right.
So your son, your brother, who, remember what I said happened to him, can keep the status rolling.
Correct.
To keep the facade rolling.
Mm-hmm.
As if you guys are of the talented 10th family.
Well, they are, because remember, since I have a different father, I'm not. So
right. But
so,
I mean,
yeah.
For them,
right.
they're the talented 10.
Right.
You know. And again, it's all a facade.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's why they kind of stay away from social media for real on you.
Right.
Because
they don't want that smoke.
Yeah, they don't want that. They know they really are.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that you have mastered social media, and that you could, they don't really want their dirt and they don't want the mask to be pulled off of them. They don't want the Band-Aid to be ripped off the ugly sore.
No, because then it's going to be very nasty.
They know that do that. So the bushes, they will stay.
Exactly. They will do.
Pretend as if they're not paying attention to what you're saying. And you did a lot of exposure in a very mild way. And I noticed that none of them have come on to refute or to say anything because, again, they don't want to wake up the beast in you.
No.
So I can understand why they are staying in the bushes.
I can understand
they don't want the whole truth to come out.
Right. Like,
it's going to come out in the book eventually.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yeah.
And I get it, but yeah, I definitely want you to continue to just do you and go forward. It comes up every now and then. I guess this was one of the times we were talking and it comes up and the people need to see, when you've been gaslighted and manipulated mentally and emotionally and spiritually for years of your life, the formative years of your life into your 20s, it's hard to break that. And then abused by a husband and all the things that you went through, like I say, too many to list. And you've overcome them and got where you at. Yeah, you deserve an applause. You deserve to hit you when you do this, to hit your little foot. Yeah, that's the applause thing right there. You deserve an applause. It's a great story to tell by the grace of God. And people need to appreciate those stories because it gives me strength. It gives people that I tell the story to strength. It
gives me hope too. Because
they can overcome.
Yeah,
and that always in the back of your mind, you hope that they end up doing right. But in the Bible, there's just some that's destined
that just won't.
Just won't.
Yeah,
their darkness is such that God has gave them over to themselves.
Yep. So they've been turned over to a reprobate mind, and that's just how they live it.
Because an apostate knows what to do, know the right thing, but they choose not to do it. You're not an apostate when you don't know.
Right.
You're just ignorant. But if you know to do good and don't do it, the Bible says it's sin.
And you're doing evil.
That's the apostate. Yeah. So they know.
Oh, yes. They're very aware.
They know. Let them tell it. They know the Bible. Yeah, okay.
You know the Bible, but you're not following it. Yeah. So, what that matters? When you know it and don't follow it.
And like I say, we're not going to even go into when you was trying to help your sister give her Bible verses, and she went to a whole demon manifestation.
Oh yeah.
And all the crystals and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. And that.
Yeah. Remember that just came in my mind.
And when you were thinking about that, because when you were talking about that, I was thinking about that posture. And remember, I told you my sister has seizures now. And the first one I was holding her, and then when I left it, I came back and I found her on all fours, like bend over, like she would be praying to Jesus, even though she don't be acting. I said, "Oh my!" That seizure dropped her down to her knees, and she couldn't get out of that posture for a long time. I said, if you're not going to bow to him, something's going to make you bow. So I don't know what that was, but she couldn't get out of that posture.
You know what that remind me of?
What?
When God did that to Nebuchadnezzar.
Oh, yeah.
Like an animal.
Yeah, he was eating grass. Yeah. She was just like that on all fours.
Yeah, on all fours.
Mm-hmm.
Shaking and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you got to be careful when you start mocking God, because he said
exactly. God said, "I won't be mocked. You can't mock me." And they're going to talk about prayers like magic. I said, "What?" Yeah, it is
she
not.
Said prayers are like magic. Then she talked about the crystals and stuff, and I'm gonna send you some crystals, and that'll take care of it. And look at my little altar I made. Yeah, you see how the enemy's so wicked, because it was like, she's like, "Don't you like hobbies?" I do. Well, you can make some hobbies as crystals. I don't like that hobby. Like that's not the hobby I rock with. So you keep that crystal. You keep it. Oh, I do not want it, and I mean that with everything I have in me. No, thank you. Yeah, don't send me no weird jewelry. Just you can hold on to that. But again, for the folks that's listening, this is just a small part of what she's overcome. We're going by memory, having a conversation, letting you in on it. This is a small part of what she's overcome. And what we want to encourage you is, whatever your cup of poison is that you're living out or living through, there is some fresh water, some living water that will dispel all of that darkness. There is some light. She said, "I'm the light of the world. Those who believe and receive me shall never walk in darkness, but have everlasting light." Amen. He said, "Those who believe and receive him have the right to become the sons and daughters of God. And those who walk in the light have nothing to do with the wicked ways of darkness." Mm-hmm. So you can overcome the darkness. You can overcome the darkness that it hampers you in your mind about how you grew up, what you went through. And you need to be around real solid biblical teaching to get out of darkness. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. It's not going to happen with mantras. Right. And you just chatting, I am saying, I am statements, I am worthy, I am, I mean. That's not going to work. You have to get into the humbling of God's word and meet God in his word. Yeah. And really believe what you're reading in his word. Yeah. Believe what it says. And I said, to the truth. You need to guide to the truth. It ain't going to come to you just because you read it. It has to be guided through, like the Ethiopian eunuch. Mm-hmm. He didn't know what he was reading until the guide, Philip, came along and guided him into repentance. And you have to be taught, and you have to sit. Yeah. What's that you say? Sit down, shut up, and learn something. Yeah. Sometimes you need to do that. The first pastor I got under, he used to say that from the pulpit. He said, some of y'all need to sit down, shut up, and learn something. Mm-hmm. And really, as crass as that is, that's the truth. That's real, though. Yeah, you need to shut uppercase. That's Latin. I don't like that. What is that? Is that Latin? Yeah, that's Negro Latin. Or Latino Negro. Or you need to let your bottom lip touch your top lip and you stick them together. Your ears and your eyes to see what's going on. Yeah. So I hope this has encouraged somebody. So, you can go ahead and edit this part out. You can go, come on. We can finish our conversation. Okay, let me stop it here. Hold on a second.
All right. Well, that was our conversation for tonight, to this morning, this afternoon, whenever you are getting a chance to listen to it. So I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Pastor Jay and I usually have really good conversations, and we've always done one of the talks, we used to call it in the morning, when we do a Monday morning conversation. These are kind of like that. So if you get a chance to enjoy this, also check out his Walk in Truth TV YouTube page. Please do that. And you can hear his Bible studies, his teaching, his words of wisdom. It's a lot of good stuff that will help you grow in your faith. And I always encourage you guys to, of course, be blessed, right? Be blessed, motivated, and always inspired to do what the Lord lays on your heart. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. And I will see you guys back on another episode of God's Gift to His Word. And this was a DV Night Talk with T.drake and Pastor Jay. You guys take care. Thanks for tuning in.
It's God's gift through His word. It's God's get through His word. Come listen, get your spirit lifted through His word, and get your blessing of God's gift through His word. Come be uplifted, come be motivated.